सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल दबाएं ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।
Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. You're watching Front Page on Bold News. This is me, Moiz Rahman, and today we will be bringing you important news updates from all across the world. We will be talking about how Donald Trump wants to revive the Abrahamic Accords again and how he wants to try and get more countries to actually recognize Israel. And we will also talk that will Syria normalize relations with Israel, because there are some efforts underway. We will further also talk about how the Israeli people are actually losing patience with Israel, and there were reports of the people of Israel attacking their own Israeli forces. Then we will further talk about the big story, which is kind of really which has taken America on a ride. Donald Trump's big bill that he calls, and it's a $3.3 trillion bill, and it can, experts say, and even his opposition said that his bill, if passed, can really add a $3.3 trillion of further deficit to America's economy. So without wasting any time, let's get to the details of our story today. So when we talk about the normalization of relations with Israel, there have been big inroads, but there are roadblocks even today. So as we shift our focus to Levant in today's program, where the dramatic diplomatic question is being asked for the first time in decades, that will Syria normalize relations with Israel? While full recognition might still be out of reach, but there have been talks between the two nations and are really underwent. They could lead to the first real peace framework in over half a century amongst these two countries. And when we talk about the backdrop, is that Syria's brutal civil war has effectively ended the fall of Bashar al-Assad in December 2024. After more than a decade of conflict has brought a new government under the president Ahmad al-Shara al-Julani, which is now resetting Syria's foreign policy. And let's see what is actually high on the agenda, which is restoring Syria's economy, rebuilding its image, and navigating its most complicated relationship of all with Israel. According to multiple sources who are actually related to this matter, there have been direct talks between Syria and Israel, and they have been facilitated through another Middle East partner. And Israeli media, the Lebanese daily Al-Akhbar, and sources close to the new Syrian leadership all confirm that discussions are progressing and may lead to a non-aggression pact or updated ceasefire amongst the two countries. The United States of America's President Donald Trump, who lifted sanctions on Syria in May and remains deeply involved in Middle East diplomacy, reportedly urged Syria to actually normalize ties with Israel. The move is seen as part of an expanded Abraham Accords that we talked about in our intro, and this can be called an Abraham Accords 2.0, aimed at reshaping the region through economic incentives and United States brokered deals. And we also talked about another deal that the US brokered recently that was also a complex span over decades in Africa. But here's the sticking amongst the two nations, the Golan Heights. Actually, because Israel occupies Golan, which is a territory seized in the 1967 war and expanded into after Assad's fall. Around about 31,000 Israeli settlers live there today illegally. Syria, even though its new leadership has not abandoned its claim to the Golan, and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it clear there will be no return from there. Analysts say on this matter that most likely the outcome in the short term is not full recognition, but a limited peace agreement cannot be ruled out. One that would actually halt Israeli strikes, demilitarize southern Syria, and reopen trade corridors. Israel wants security guarantees, no Iranian or Turkish military presence, and an end to basically support for the Palestinian resistant groups. The the support for the Palestinian groups, an end to it actually seems very improbable as of today. Syria, for its part, wants an end to the Israeli air raids, withdrawal from newly occupied Syrian border towns, and a return to the 1974 disengagement lines. But Damascus may have to tread carefully through this matter. Normalizing ties with Israel remains politically explosive, especially with Palestine still under heavy siege and Golan families still displaced. So with Israel's war crimes and the impact it has had on the society, this is going to be difficult. And there's also a sectarian angle, because Israel has threatened to intervene in southern Syria under the guise of protecting the Druze minority amid tensions between the new government and the local faction. Many Druze leaders have rejected Israeli involvement as a cynical attempt to sow discord, even if they remain wary of Damascus. When we talk about the White House, it has welcomed Syria's outreach, with its US officials saying that they're monitoring whether Syria actually will take concrete steps towards peace with Israel or crack down on the so-called foreign terrorists and distance itself from the Palestinian resistance groups. So this will be an interesting stage, because the pieces are certainly moving. Syria is no longer Assad's playground. It's basically a contested geopolitical chessboard, while full normalization, again, we say that with Israel is still unlikely, but a strategic ceasefire, economic cooperation, or a soft recognition framework could still emerge in months ahead. So we will continue to talk ahead, because much depends on Israel's willingness to de-escalate and Syria's ability to maintain sovereignty. So for this matter, we have invited retired Masood Ahmed Khan in this show, and we will be talking to him about his analysis on the topic. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Brigadier Saab.
Thank you.
Brigadier Saab, my first question, obviously addressed to you, is what do you think, what do you foresee in the future when it comes to the Middle East?
Thank you very much for inviting me. The future of Middle East, when we see it from the prism of the developing situation between the Israelis and Iranis, and then the subsequent development, the situation in Gaza, so we can say it is still fragile, but there is a ceasefire which was brokered by the Americans. But the important thing is, the Iranians basically know they are not ready to cooperate with International Atomic Energy Agency. That is one thing. So therefore, the Iranian Majlis has declared that they have given a decision, and it has to be approved by the Supreme Leader. Secondly, they have also removed the closed-circuit cameras installed and the installation. But at the same time, there is a possibility they may say after some time they are exiting from NPT. There is also a possibility the Iranians, they may take a decision, or they may say the fatwa which was given by Ayatollah in 2003, that we are reversing that fatwa and we are going for nuclear weapons. So this could be a possibility. But at the same time, the Americans, they have made it very clear that, like President Trump said yesterday, that they will never allow Iran to develop a nuclear device. They will bomb Iran again. This is one they said categorically.
Absolutely. Now, coming to actually the topic that we were discussing about Israel, do you really think that the Abraham Accords that were actually started in Donald Trump's first tenure, do you see a further expansion in the near future when it comes to Abraham Accords, with the normalization of ties with Israel and the other countries that do not recognize Israel till date?
Likely. Steve Witkoff is on record. He said probably a week ago, he said there are some countries, he was referring about 4 countries, that the world will be surprised they are going to join the Abraham Accords. So that is a big claim and statement made by Steve Witkoff. So our fingers are crossed and likely, but I'm sure the one country which will be part of Abraham Accords very soon will be Syria. As we have seen, there are reports of a negotiation between the two countries.
Yes.
It was Syria which basically invited and facilitated the negotiation with the Israelis. So Israeli National Security Advisor, their foreign minister, they are involved in talks and they are going for some understanding very soon. And the only thing the Israelis said, they will hold on to the Golan Heights. There will be no compromise as far as Golan Heights is concerned. Rest, they are going to address all security and other issues. So there are likely choices. But in case of Saudi Arabia, but they have made it very clear, unless there is a two-state solution, they are not going to recognize Israel. But there are still 11 Muslim countries, they have recognized Israel. And they were part of Abraham Accord, the UAE and Bahrain. And subsequently, we have seen in the past Sudan, Morocco, Jordan. And Turkey was the first country which recognized Israel in 1949.
Yep, that is correct. And now we talked about the two-state solution, and Pakistan has also had a very clear position about the two-state solution, that if there is a two-state solution according to the rules laid out by the United Nations back early in the 1960s, so Pakistan will not recognize Israel until that is implemented. And even Saudi Arabia has a very strict policy laid out about the two-state solution between Israel and the state of Palestine. Same goes for Kuwait and Oman as well. So do you foresee a two-state solution? And do you think that Donald Trump, like with his past statements when he has said that he is not happy with what Israel did after he made the ceasefire deal with Israel and Iran. So do you foresee any chances of a two-state solution between the state of Palestine and Israel?
I'm optimistic. There is likely possibility. The way that President Trump is now presenting himself a man of peace, as he is now claiming he basically brokered peace between Pakistan and India, then the ceasefire between Israel and Iran, then Rwanda and Congo. And now he also claimed that there will be a ceasefire in Gaza for 2 months, and subsequently the modalities will be discussed for a long-time ceasefire. But at the same time, he also said they are also considering the two-state solution. But he was also hinting that some part of West Bank will be given to Israel. But ultimately, he said, and since he is under pressure from the European countries as well as from the Arabs, so likely they will go for a two-state solution. And most probably, this is what the Pakistan stand is, and this is what Quaid-e-Azam said initially in 1948. And that is the stance of government of Pakistan, that if they go back to 1967 position, then Pakistan will consider this one of the options. But at present, there is no such consideration or a possibility of recognizing Israel, which is involved in genocide of Gazans.
Absolutely. Now, thank you so much for giving your time this evening. And obviously, peace should return to the lives of the people of Palestine. They're innocent. The genocide that Israel has committed over the years is absolutely unforgivable and unforgettable. All sorts of war crimes have been done. So it is imperative that peace returns to that part of the world. But at the same time, Israel must be held accountable for its war crimes. We will continue to discuss these topics as well as other topics. But now let's take a break. Don't go anywhere. Keep watching Bold News. Welcome back. You're watching Front Page on Bold News. Now let's discuss Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill, which is headed for a showdown in the House. This is a bill that has created waves all across the world. So tonight we go to the Capitol Hill, where after hours of drama, division, and deadlock, the United States Senate has just passed Donald Trump's mega bill. The bill that he calls One Big Beautiful Bill Act, by the thinnest possible margin. But the battle isn't over yet. So let's talk about what the bill is. But first, let me tell you that the bill passed the Senate only after the Vice President J.D. Vance casted the tie-breaking vote following a tense 50-50 split. This came after more than 24 hours of debate, procedural hurdles, and a marathon vote drama session that actually tested the stamina of lawmakers and the patience of the American public. So this bill had actually been Donald Trump's strongest things that he talked about. And Donald Trump had demanded that the bill land on his desk by July the 4th, a symbolic target, what he's calling the most important legislation of his second term. Just to actually mention the date of 4th July, because it marks the United States Independence Day. From tax cuts and spending slashes to welfare rollbacks and border enforcement funding, this bill actually represents the ideological backbone of Donald Trump's 2.0 agenda, and he has said that this bill is actually the crown jewel of his second tenure. But not everyone is actually celebrating, and let me tell you why. 3 Republican senators joined the Democrats in actually voting against the bill, citing concerns over the deficit hikes and the cuts to healthcare and food aid. One key senator called the process rushed and agonizing. And and let me tell you that this is the bill that actually caused the fallout between Donald Trump and Elon Musk as well, who was his friend and a very big friend. And now the final version is now back into the House of the Representatives, where the fate is anything but certain. House of Republicans passed an early version by a single vote margin, but many are happy with Senate's deeper cuts to Medicaid and estimate that the bill would add around about $650 billion per year to the national deficit and around about more than $3.3 trillion during the course of Donald Trump's 4-year tenure, which will span till 2028. Even Donald Trump's own allies are rebelling. Tech billionaire Elon Musk, who helped bankroll Donald Trump's 2024 election campaign, is threatening to join a new party if the bill becomes a law. He's furious over proposed cuts to green energy and electrical vehicle support, a direct blow to Tesla's future, which is already not doing very well. Every member of the Congress who voted should hang their head in shame, Elon Musk had said on X. And earlier, he even blamed Donald Trump for actually being in the Epstein leaks. And Donald Trump may have cleared the Senate, but the battle in the House could be even nastier. The big, beautiful bill is not just a tax, but a spending package. It is reckoning for a Republican Party, a test of Donald Trump's grip on Washington, and a preview of how economic populism and elite power struggles will actually define America's next chapter. So this bill has actually wreaked a havoc in the United States domestic politics, and we will continue to actually discuss this in further detail, and we will tell you about the salient features, because this bill had actually created waves that no one was seeing. No one foresaw that the fallout between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, who was named as his right hand, will actually turn out to be so quick within just 6 months of the tenure. And we will tell that why has it created so many waves, and also tell that if the fears of this bill adding $3.3 trillion to the United States economy in terms of deficit comes out to be true, this will have actually implications on the global economy. So we will continue to discuss this as well as other topics, and also discuss what is happening in the Middle East, particularly Israel and the genocide of the people against the people of Gaza, and also the technological front. But today's show has come to an end. We will meet you again in another episode. Take a lot of care of yourself, and please do share your feedback on both social media handles. This is me, Moizer Rahman, signing off from today's show. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.
सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल दबाएं ताकि कोई खबर रह न जाए।